My name is Abhay Meganathan. I'm the Vice Chairman of Rajalakshmi Engineering College. I would like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm an undergraduate. I'm an electronics engineer by volition. I have my undergraduate degree from Electronics and Communication Engineering from College of Engineering, India. And I've done my master's from Syracuse University, New York. Post my education, I have been working for the last 12 years in varied sectors, mainly in automobile and renewable energy sectors. We've been a large job generator in the area of energy and automobile in Tamil Nadu and largely in South India. We've been involved in charitable activities in education for the last 25 years now, and this brings out a larger passion in us in me to serve the next generation coming, the so-called millennials and later. So today I think we are the largest job creators in the world, perhaps India as a country, and I'm glad to be part of that ecosystem. So my passion other than work has been trying to reach out to different parts of society to understand what they do, because a lot of the work we do is outside of Chennai in rural Tamil Nadu. So we try and connect with different societies and make a small difference, whatever that we can do. From a personal front, I'm a big fan of golf and cricket, and so that's a little bit about me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, moving on to the interview, I'll start off with the first question, which is: being the Vice Chairman of Rajalakshmi Engineering College, what is your philosophy of leadership? How would you describe your leadership style?
I think given that I'm a second generation professional in managing education, my management style is more of an emergence style. It's a little lesser of a hierarchy based management style, but goes towards emergence, where it's more collective wisdom. I try to collect the wisdom of different people, of seniors, of senior professionals in the institution, and put it into a collective thought process and lead from there. It's little less of a bureaucracy, and trying to transform from a bureaucratic hierarchical style to a more if I may say, management style called emergence.
Thank you. Now, as the Vice Chairman of Rajalakshmi Engineering College, how do you strategize about the key programs and plans for the marketing administration of your school?
I think again this has evolved over time. You're talking about key programs of marketing, right?
Yes.
So this has evolved a lot over time. I think a little over 2 decades ago there were only less than 30 engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu when we started off, private engineering colleges. So there was no. Again, we don't see this as a marketing initiative. It's more of a branding initiative. I think education brands, like any other brand, is very important to be positioned properly. I think that is what we focus on more than marketing. Marketing can be sales and branding. I think we do a little. Our core focus is on positioning ourselves on where we want to be and where. And that is something where we talk about being more futuristic. We are proud of being on the more the progressive brands in education, and that is our focus. Whatever centers around bringing that message out, that is what we focus on in marketing.
The education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. In your experience, what can an inbound student gain from studying here in your institute?
Yeah, so I think it's a very relative question, very important question here, because I think education in India has seen a very monotonous way of thinking, monotonous style, if I may say, because we've been used to the traditional government institutions, which have a lot of strengths, but and change is not one of them. For example, the curriculum, which is very much spoken about, has seen very little changes until recently. Recently government institutions have also started moving on in this direction. And not just curriculum, the way of teaching, the methodologies, the pedagogy, everything has been a little stale. While if you take the West, there has been a lot of change. The way education is imparted, way knowledge is imparted, is very special to. Which is evolved. See, basically, I think what we have seen in the West is not the same thing that we have seen a decade ago or even 2 decades ago. They've been continuously evolving. I think that is something private institutions, especially institutions like ourselves, have been championing. I think that I think is our biggest advantage, considering that we've been moving with the times.
Thank you, sir. Now, how does the curriculum of Rajalakshmi Engineering College ensure the best practice of industry?
Best practice of our education industry, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I think, like I said, I have to link back to my previous answer, is that we've been looking out. We've been a very outward-looking institution. We've been looking out for trends which have helped our students gain better access to knowledge, better access to industry trends, the modern industry trends. So the key here is to be outward. We've been in touch with our player. Industry Connect has been very active. We've had a very active academic industry collaboration, and we've been awarded by CII, AICTE, and many other bodies for being outward in that front. I think that is the key, because it's very easy to sit back in your room and say things will come to me, rather than go out and say look for things that will positively affect the students' time in our college.
Thank you, sir. Now, the next question. Any insights into how your institute could be more welcoming to students of different races or economic backgrounds?
I think the outreach is there. We've been doing a lot of outreach outside of Chennai. Unfortunately, we have our caps. We are being affiliated to Anna University, being affiliated in this system. We have a cap of how many people that we can get outside of Tamil Nadu, for instance. The other state and the other country people are less. Hardly 10% of our entire intake, for which we have a very good demand. We have a very robust number of, admission process in the Gulf, for instance, where we get a lot of people from the NRIs and other state people who come in. But we are constrained due to some regulation on that front. But within Tamil Nadu, I think we have a very diverse crowd of students. We have first of all, a very good gender divide, and we have people from all over the state, and different whatever racial diversity is available in Tamil Nadu. I think we cater to the entire diversity, entire spectrum.
Sure. Now, what do you think your roles and responsibilities to the institute and the students are?
See, as a management professional, my prime responsibility is facilitation of the best possible resources for students and faculty to impart and receive the knowledge from the professors. The teaching learning process has to be facilitated in the best possible manner. I think that is my prime duty. Post that, I think the secondary duties would be to ensure harmony. I think there should not be any untoward issues or anything. I think that is the second most important thing which comes in. And then comes the reaching out to corporates, reaching out to other external agencies to ensure that we get the best in class treatment for our students. Even it may be placement, may be foreign collaborations for students for doing a semester, small internship abroad or research abroad, those kind of things. That comes. These are the prime things. Among many other things, I think this is what I would tell as my top 1, 2, 3 responsibilities.
Sure, sir. That was very well put. Now, moving on. What do you think should be the Institute's top priority over the next 10 years?
I think, again, I'm going to shuttle back a little bit to my central point of being progressive. I think that is a very key thing that all educational institutions should have, the DNA of being progressive. The next time, we've seen a lot of changes in the last 10 years, and even more so in the last 20 years. So it is enough evidence for us to accept that change is the only constant, as they say. So with the next 10 years, we are going to focus on being more making our students more industry ready. That's a learning of the last decade, which we will progress even more because skill, as I think this is something that has been spoken to a lot. So we've brought in a lot of centers for excellences in our campus. We try and, instead of being just centers of excellences on paper, we've done a lot of work that they become very practical oriented. So students are very clear with the skill that they obtain. That process will not be avoided by any student who enters our campus. So that is one key thing that skill and education should go hand in hand. Secondly, I think what we will be doing is from the faculty side. I think we've seen a lot of change of what the requirement of faculty members has been in the last 20-25 years. I think that is going to undergo a sea change. It's going to become a thing where faculty members have to keep upskilling themselves, because they are the people who are in charge of skilling, being in charge of giving the latest to the students. So the capacity or the capabilities of faculty members have to improve multifold. I think that is an area we're going to focus on. We're going to focus on empowering, we're going to focus on uplifting faculty members, their strengths and their skills in the next decade. I think that is going to be a key challenge for a lot of education institutions. Because availability of faculty members is aplenty today. That there is no question about. But then the best quality faculty members to get them on board to our campus, maybe even foreign faculty members, people from industry coming back and joining academia to teach. These are the things that I think are going to make an institution from a good to a great institution.
Thank you, sir. Now, a little personal question. When you first came to Rajalakshmi Engineering College, what was your vision for the institute? Has it evolved over time? And how far along in implementing that vision are you in now?
See, our vision is to, I think when we came in, when I came in, we had around 3,500 to 3,500 odd students in our campus. Now it has gone to around 8,000, 8,500. This has been a lot of incremental progression. This is only the engineering stream of students. So we've seen a good 2.5x increase in number of students, number of faculty. We've seen a lot of work with regard to academic infrastructure. See, what we initially, I think 10, 15 years back, we were focusing on ensuring that all the basic requirements that let's say AICT prescribes is all available. Now I think we have my main thing was to ensure that we give surplus. I mean, it should not be just the basic what has been prescribed. It should be beyond what a government agency prescribes. So that is something we have come a long way on, and I think that is something that we will go further on, because I think what is prescribed is for the entire 500 odd engineering colleges in Tamil Nadu and so on, for the entire gamut of engineering colleges in India. But what we benchmark ourselves is today to be in par with a global institution. My vision is to get into the QS World Rankings, for instance, to be ranked over there as probably in the top 500 in the world. That would be my vision to start off, the medium-term vision that I would have. And along the way, if regulations improve, we definitely want to become a university, and that will further our cause in bringing multidisciplinary programs to the students, which is a key rating factor for the global rate rankings to evaluate an institution.
Thank you, sir. Now, what would you like people to know about your institute that they might not know?
I think that I think we would like to put our research and publication efforts. I think we've taken a lot of effort, which is completely not gone into the public domain. We've spent close to 25 odd crores just on research facility. We've got an equal number of grants from around senior institutions like DRDO and DST, and I think it has been something that we have really mushroomed into a serious research institution. I think that is an area that we should be able to publish a little bit more, so that we are taken a little more seriously in the academic community and in corporates, where we would like to undertake some secondary research of corporates and other institutions.
Thank you. Now, what do you see as Rajalakshmi Engineering College's greatest strength?
I think our greatest strength is our capacity to be progressive and change over time for the benefit of our students. We're a very nimble institution. I think that in the education sector is a very, very key strength that we feel that we have.
Thank you, sir. Now, what are some of the biggest challenges you see, both for higher education in general and for Rajalakshmi Engineering College specifically?
The key challenges, you mean?
Yes, in general for educational industry, higher education industry, and specifically for your institute.
See, I think the most obvious challenge would be job creation. That is something that doesn't pertain just the education area, but that's more of a overall political, geographical thing where it concerns the entire world, if not just India. So that also translates into education. But when you talk about just knowledge generation, I mean, imparting knowledge, I think the biggest challenge would be the focus of the youth today. Today, the biggest advantage and disadvantage is, one statement which has been a motivational factor, and also which has been something people tell you not to do, is be restless. A lot of people, like I saw a video of Mr. Sundar Pichai saying that you should stay restless, and that's a good thing. I mean, that's a good thing in a lot of points, and it can also become a very negative thing in certain areas of students. So I feel overall attention span and how digital minimalism should come into the students, because today the digital world is can become a big distraction for students, and I feel that is becoming a challenge. The mindset of students, in a nutshell, is becoming a challenge where we should make this work to our advantage rather than our disadvantage.
Sure, sir. Now, what are some plans that you are currently or will be designing for Rajalakshmi Engineering College's international affairs and students?
Yeah, I think this is something we've been working on way before a lot of the other private institutions started working on. Last 15 odd years, we've been actively working, we're actively present in many global exhibitions, global seminars where we've interacted with a lot of world universities. I think that has that has become transferred into multiple MOUs, working MOUs that we've been able to we've been able to generate. We've been able to cultivate relationships with multiple universities. We've started doing a lot of active faculty exchanges so that our faculty members are able to gain the exposure. I think the key thing here is exposure. And we are a lot of the people in a lot of the stakeholders in our education sector are used to are exposed only to the traditional government institutions. And I think one main area which is missing is the exposure of a lot of what is happening across the world. And somehow, a lot of academicians tend to look inward with regard to what is happening in the, for their own development. I think that is the key change that we want to see with our international relations. Bring in a lot of exposure to our faculty and to our students.
Thank you, sir. Now, how do you tend to establish a healthy relation and environment in your institution?
Yeah, I think that's a very valid question in today's day and age. I think we've been more a kind of a good match between a liberal and a conservative institution that way with regard to student affairs. We've been conservative to ensure that the interests, the culture, the values of our traditions come in whatever way possible. We're not as a culture, we're not the most progressive culture, I would say. We've in a good way, we've managed to ensure that our multi-generational culture seep through to our next generation in whatever way possible. I think that we have ensured. We've ensured that we don't have too much of, the freedom has to be earned, freedom has to be respected. And to that extent, we have ensured that there is a lot of freedom for students for whatever positive things that they want to do. So we have maintained that balance. I think one of the biggest successes for Rajalakshmi is that we have maintained the balance between being a liberal and a conservative institution. I think that has helped our relationship with the students and students appreciating our our thought process towards them.
Thank you, sir. Now the final question. Any suggestions you would like to give to the current youth and the aspiring students?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, the aspiring students, the biggest thing is that, we are going into the most prosperous period of our nation ever. I think there is no doubt about that. And I think we have progressed from what we were in the second half of the 20th century to the second half of the 21st century is going to be a big sea change. We are no more we are no more considered a third world country. Though the definition still includes us, I don't think we are considered more a fast developing country. So what the takeaway from that is, the resources are plenty, but it's how we channel our inner energy, inner motivation, inner thoughts to go to where we need to go to. We have to always focus on making a progressive step forward rather than trying to use all our positive energy, all our surplus resources into something negative. So in a nutshell, be positive and work towards being positive.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable thought. All the best for your future work. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rahul.